Princess Adobe and the Prince in Disguise. Long ago, in a beautiful village called Nisi, there lived a wise king named King Ezeki. He ruled his people with kindness and fairness. His wife was Queen Ugoma, a gentle and loving woman. The king and queen loved each other very much, but they had one great sadness. For many years, they had no child. They prayed, hoped, and waited. Year after year passed. Finally, after 15 long years of waiting, their prayers were answered. A baby girl was born. The king and queen were filled with joy. They named her Princess Adobe. Because she was their only child, everyone in Nisi loved her dearly. She grew up to be a beautiful, kind, and intelligent young woman. In the tradition of Nisi, if a king had no son, the husband of his daughter would become the next king. This meant that whoever married Princess Adobe would one day sit on the throne of Nisi. As Adobe grew older, many wealthy and powerful young men came to ask for her hand in marriage. Some were merchants with great riches. Others were warriors with many followers. They arrived wearing expensive clothes and carrying valuable gifts. But Princess Adobe noticed something strange. Whenever they spoke to her, they cared more about the kingdom than about her. They asked questions about the palace, the throne, and the treasures of Nisi. Very few asked about her dreams, her thoughts, or her happiness. One evening, Adobe sat quietly in the palace garden. "They do not love me," she said sadly. "They only want the throne." The princess wanted a husband who would love her for who she was, not for the crown she would one day inherit. After thinking carefully, she made a bold decision. "I will travel far away," she told herself. "I will go where nobody knows that I am a princess. There, I will find someone who loves me for my true self." The next morning, she dressed in simple clothes and left Nisi without telling anyone who she really was. After many days of traveling, she arrived in a distant village. As she walked through the busy marketplace, she noticed a young man selling goods along the street. The young man had a warm smile and kind eyes. Unlike many others, he treated everyone with respect. Adobe stopped to buy something from him. "Good day," the young man said politely. "Good day," Adobe replied. They began talking. Their conversation was easy and pleasant. Soon, they found themselves laughing together. Over the following days, they met many times. They spoke about their dreams, their families, and the future. The young man's name was Isquite. To Adobe, he seemed like an ordinary man who worked hard to earn a living. She liked him because he was humble, honest, and caring. As time passed, friendship turned into love. One day, Isquite looked at Adobe and said, "You have brought happiness into my life. I would like to spend the rest of my days with you." Adobe smiled. "I feel the same way," she replied. But there was something neither of them knew. Just as Adobe was hiding the fact that she was a princess, Isquite was hiding a secret too. He was actually the son of King Isquite of Atani. He was a prince who had left his kingdom to find a woman who would love him for who he was and not because of his royal title. Neither of them had revealed the truth. After some time, Adobe returned to Nisi and told her parents about the man she loved. King Ezeki listened carefully. "Who is this young man?" he asked. "He is a hard-working and kind man," Adobe answered. "Is he wealthy?" the king asked. "No." "Is he a prince?" "No." The king frowned. "You cannot marry a commoner," he said firmly. "You are the only princess of Nisi. You must marry someone worthy of the throne." Adobe tried to explain that true love was more important than wealth, but her father would not listen. Soon, King Ezeki announced that Princess Adobe would choose a husband from among the wealthy suitors who had come to seek her hand in marriage. A grand ceremony was arranged. On the chosen day, the palace was filled with important guests. Wealthy young men from many villages arrived dressed in fine clothing. They all hoped to become the future king of Nisi. Princess Adobe felt sad. She did not want to marry any of them. Then, just as the ceremony was about to begin, a loud trumpet sounded outside the palace gates. Everyone turned to look. A magnificent procession was approaching. Soldiers marched proudly. Royal servants carried banners. Beautiful horses moved gracefully through the crowd. At the center of the procession rode a handsome young prince. To everyone's surprise, it was his quite. The crowd gasped. King Ezeki stared in amazement. "Who is this?" he asked. A royal messenger stepped forward and bowed. "Your Majesty," he announced, "this is Prince Isquite of Atani, son of the great king of Atani." The entire palace became silent. Princess Adobe smiled with joy. At that moment, the truth was revealed. The man she loved was not a commoner after all. He was a prince who had been searching for true love, just as she had been. King Ezeki realized that he had judged the young man too quickly. More importantly, he saw that he quite truly loved his daughter. The king gladly gave his blessing. Soon afterward, Prince Isquite and Princess Adobe were married in a grand celebration. The people of Nisi and Atani rejoiced together. Years later, when King Ezeki grew old, he entrusted the throne of Nisi to Prince Isquite and Princess Adobe. With the agreement of both kingdoms, they ruled Nisi and Atani together. They governed with wisdom, kindness, and fairness. The people loved them because they cared for everyone, rich and poor alike. And so, Princess Adobe found what she had been searching for all along, not wealth, power, or a crown,